Hi everyone! So today we're talking about rhythm and meter. I'm going to demo some things for you and then you're going to have the opportunity to do that yourself to prove that you understand all these things. And I think it'll be really helpful to be able to describe the music that you listen to. So let's get started. We're going to talk about rhythm and meter. You may have heard these terms before, but now you have some official definitions to know what they mean. So, rhythm and meter, they propel the music forward. We need some ability to move, to do something with the music, and rhythm and meter help us do that. Two terms for us: beat, which is a basic unit of rhythm, and we can usually tell that by strong beats and weak beats. And then the second term is meter, which is how we organize all of those beats together. Now usually when we're looking at music, we will see measures or bars and bar lines, which you'll see in a second on the next slide. But our two important terms are beat and meter, and they are different. Beat is our most basic unit of rhythm, and meter is how we group them together so that it makes sense for us in music. So if we look at a piece of music here, we have what are called bar lines here, and this is a measure, and they are grouped in a certain way. For us, with this example, there are 3 of them in each measure, so that is how that is grouped together. Downbeats are what is the very first thing that happens in every measure, and that'll help us figure out how we group all things together. Typically for us, there are 3 different kinds. We either group them in 2s, 3s, or 4s. And here's what that looks like for us. So we use our prefixes that make sense to us. So duple equals 2, which has a strong downbeat and then a weak beat. So that's 2 total beats. Then there's triple meter, which has a strong downbeat and 2 weak beats. So that has 3 total beats. And quadruple has a strong downbeat and then a weaker 2, 3, and 4. So use your prefixes to help you remember which ones those are. Duple has 2. Triple has 3, and quadruple has 4. And each of these have a strong downbeat and then weaker other beats. Again, this will make more sense in a second. So, I want you to be able to feel these meters so that you can better hear them and describe them. Here's how we're going to do that. So, you know that there is a conductor for orchestras or different ensembles, and that helps the group stay together, and there's usually this one guy at the front that's waving his arms back and forth. Well, they conduct certain patterns that make sense for the musicians, and we're going to learn 3 of those that correspond with duple, triple, and quadruple. So the first one is duple. Duple again means there are 2 beats. So this is what my pattern is going to look like. This is where we're starting and this is where we're ending. So we're going to take our right hand, which is going to be backwards for you, and we're going to start, so we're going to go down, and where that dot is, that's where the first beat is, and then we come back up, and that's 2. So duple looks like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, and it repeats over and over again, over and over again. Okay, so that is duple, has 2 beats, first beat strongest, so it'd be 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, the little pattern, the little loop here doesn't have to be totally perfect, just so that you get the basic outline of that pattern. So if you do that for a couple of times, then you'll be able to feel what that duple meter feels like. So that's duple. Now we have triple, which, as you remember, has 3 beats. So this has a slightly different pattern so that you're able to feel it. Again, we're starting and ending in the same place up here, and beat 1 is pretty much always in this location. So for triple or 3 beats, we have 1, 2, 3, and it's kind of like a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you keep doing this as you go about your day, as I'm sure you want to be able to do, 3, 4, or triple usually takes place for dances. So like waltzes make the most sense in 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Remember, the first beat is the strongest and the other 2 are weaker. So that is triple. And then quadruple looks like this. It's a little more complicated, but it's still the same thing. We're just now going on 2 sides. So we're starting in the same place and ending in the same place. Beat 1 is in the same place, but we're doing some slightly more exciting things to get 4 beats for quadruple. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do these nice little loops here if you want. You can be fancy, whatever, as long as 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in the same spot. Okay? And you repeat that over and over again. Keep in mind that the first beat is the strongest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that is our meters, and we're first doing them as conducting patterns like that. So these meters are going to help us determine what they are for specific songs that we know. So, for example, if you think of the song My Country 'Tis of Thee, you've probably heard it a million times, right? So it sounds like, and you get to enjoy my wonderful voice, my country 'tis of thee, right? So, how do we know what the meter is in? Well, we try it based on our options. Our options are duple, triple, and quadruple. Remember that the strong beat is always beat 1. So we can test it based on just the lyrics. So if we thought it was in duple, we would have to do certain words or syllables as strong or downbeat. So for example, if you're doing it in duple, would this make sense to you? My country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty. I am making an accent on 1. So it'd be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Did it sound kind of weird when we did it that way? Now let's try quadruple. Remember where we have strong downbeat and 3 weak beats. My country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty. Still kind of weird, right? We have the accents on weird places with the lyrics. So let's try quadruple. My country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty. And that makes sense. It's actually in triple. So if you feel where the accents are, they're not in the middle of words or anything like that. So it's in triple meter. You could do the same thing with any song that you hear. Something easy might be Twinkle Twinkle. Twinkle Twinkle. You could test them out, but just so you know, it's going to be in duple meter. Twinkle, twinkle, little star makes the most sense than having the accents or the emphasis in weird places. Okay, last thing for you to know, and then we've covered all of the things we're going to cover in this, is 2 other terms. Syncopation, which is when accents fall on off beats. Off beats are weaker beats. They're not the strong beat. They are not beat 1. So things that happen when they're not supposed to happen. It is kind of an interjection. Like if you're telling a story and one of your friends jumps in and interrupts you when you're not expecting it, that's a form of syncopation if it was in music. Or if you've ever heard the joke, knock knock, who's there, interrupting cow, and then that other person screams moo before you can say interrupting cow. Same thing with syncopation. You're jumping in. And I'll play that for you in a second. But it's used a lot in types of music like jazz, or just anything to spice up the music. Make sure that you're paying attention. Maybe throw your ear off. Or it could draw special attention to words that you think are most important. Something like that. And the last term is polyrhythm, which is having conflicting rhythmic patterns going on at the same time. So you could have your right hand doing one thing and your left hand doing another thing at the same time, and that is polyrhythm. So for our homework assignment, we're going to test out all of these things. The first thing you're going to do is the conducting patterns, and the second thing you're going to do is performing these 3 meters. So what I want you to do is find some common household objects like a pot or a pan. I have a nice little mixing bowl here. And then I want you to find some drumsticks. So for me, I have a couple spatulas. Okay, you can use whatever you want. Just make sure that it makes some sound. And you're going to perform these meters. So I'm going to help you figure out how to do that. Here's my nice little mixing bowl. Okay, so the first one that we have is duple meter. Duple meter, remember, is 1 strong downbeat and then a weak beat. And it is repeated over and over at the same speed. Okay, so it would sound like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, Okay? Does that make sense? Same speed. So you don't want, they're not the same speed. We want it the same speed in repetition over and over again. Okay, so that is duple meter. Next is triple. So we have 1 strong downbeat and 2 weak beats. Again, the same speed for each of them. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that repeats on and on and on. And then we have quadruple. 1 strong downbeat and 3 weak beats for a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That repeats on and on with the same speed. So now that we've covered all of the time signatures and our meters that we're doing, the last 2 things that I want you to do for your homework assignment is to do syncopation and something else more exciting. So syncopation, we learned, was happening on an offbeat, interrupting, doing something to spice up the music. So the first thing I want you to do is have a constant beat in one hand. So I want you to pick a speed and just have that going over and over again. The next thing I want you to do is take your other hand and play not when your other hand is playing. So if you're playing when the other hand is playing, it would sound like this. And that's pretty normal, right? Nothing's interrupting anything. That's not what we want. We want to take this hand and play not with our other hand. So for example, it would sound like this. Interrupting here. Okay, does that make sense? You can also use a metronome, and I've provided a link so that you have a constant beat going, and then you just have to interrupt with one hand. So that's syncopation. Last thing that I want you to do is a drum set simulation. Now, drum set players have to have many rhythms going on at the same time in many limbs. So I want you to try it. This is all about trying, not about perfection. So I want you to do is try and have 3 different rhythms going on at the same time. So pick a rhythm for your right hand, a different rhythm for your left hand, and pick a foot. Or have your mouth be saying a rhythm or something so that you can try to feel how difficult it is to have 3 rhythms going on at the same time. Okay, so here is what your homework looks like. So here we have our homework. Step 1 is to watch this instructor video in rhythm and meter. Check, you've already done that. Step 2 is to video record yourself performing all of these items. I want you to conduct duple meter, triple meter, and quadruple meter, those patterns that we learned in this video. The next part is to perform duple, triple, and quadruple meter using your kitchen utensils. The last 2, I want you to perform syncopation. And the last one, your attempt at drum set simulation. Again, this is just attempt. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've completed all of these things, you need to upload it to our learning management system. You can do that via a YouTube link. If you want to post your video on YouTube, you can unlist it, something like that. You could also use Dropbox, which is helpful for larger video files. Or you can upload it directly to our LMS, but you might have difficulties doing that. Keep in mind these 2 things. Number 1, if you don't want to have syncopation going on in one hand and the second hand, you can use a metronome, and this link is there for that. Last hint is that it might be difficult to upload this video to our LMS, so I highly suggest you use something like YouTube or Dropbox. I've included the Dropbox links here, so you can upload your video there and then send me a link to your video. As always, reach out with any questions you might have. Happy practicing.